Okay, we're going to make a right up there onto Snake Meadow Hill Road.
All right, got it. Wow, this is a pretty rural section of Sterling, Connecticut.
It is. Not much out here but trees. A few houses spread out from each other.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're going to make a left onto Main Street.
All right. Oh, come on. I mean, when a road is called Main Street, I expect it to be full of houses and businesses. But there's nothing but a hill ahead of us and some trees on both sides.
Yeah, it's rural out here for sure. Okay, stop right here by the first telephone pole.
All right, what are we looking for?
Ray, we've come to Sterling, Connecticut to explore the haunting of Gravity Hill. Hey, I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger. Welcome to episode 422 of the New England Legends podcast. Thank you, legendarians, for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England, one story at a time. From ghosts and monsters to UFOs and cryptids to eccentrics and roadside oddities, we love all the wicked strangeness that makes the Northeast like no other place. We love it when you get involved with your episode ideas, when you share our podcast with your friends, and when you post a review for us. That's how we grow.
We'll explore Gravity Hill in Sterling, Connecticut, right after this word from our sponsor.
Okay, Jeff, here's a little more background on the town of Sterling. It was incorporated in 1794 and named after an early settler named John Sterling. It's a small town that sits on the eastern border of Connecticut, with just over 3,000 people living here.
So, small rural town.
Exactly. So we've parked the car in the middle of the road here by the first telephone pole on Main Street. Our car is facing the southwest. There's no other cars around, so I guess we're fine here for a minute or two.
Yeah, so this is Gravity Hill in Sterling, Ray. They say this road is haunted by the ghost of an old witch who doesn't like anyone on what was her former land. They say if you put your car in neutral, her ghost will push it away, forward, up that hill ahead of us. Not only that, if we take a little of this talcum powder that I brought and sprinkle it on the trunk of your car, after we're pushed off her former land, we'll see fingerprints in the powder on the trunk.
Come on.
Well, it's easy enough to test.
I guess it is.
Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm spreading some talcum powder all over your trunk. Okay, the talcum powder's in place. You ready to test this thing?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, all right. So go ahead and pop the car into neutral.
Okay, look at that. We're starting to roll forward.
We are.
We're actually gaining speed and rolling up the hill ahead of us.
I know, it's weird, right?
Okay, so we've rolled a few hundred feet now, but the hill is climbing ahead of us, and now we're starting to slow down. And now we've stopped.
Okay, let's put the car in park and go check the trunk.
Oh man, look at that.
I see it.
There's a bunch of fingerprints in the talcum powder.
There's a bunch.
So it seems like this legend is true.
It does look that way, doesn't it? Okay, to find out how we got here, let's head back to the year 1792 and look for this witch.
It's November of 1792 here in Sterling, Connecticut. The new nation, called the United States, is still trying to figure things out. But here in Sterling, life goes on as it has for decades. Folks are trying to get by, run their farms, and earn a living.
That's true. This is the kind of town where everyone knows each other. They're the people you see each week in church or at their businesses or even on the street.
Right, like any small town.
Exactly. But there's also a reclusive hermit, too. In this case, Margaret Henry. She's an old woman who lives out in the woods. Folks in town know she's out there. The fact that she's so reclusive makes some people nervous. They want to know what she's hiding. Others shrug and figure they'll just leave her be.
Time passes, but all the while, Margaret Henry's witchy reputation grows, mostly because people don't know much about her.
Did you hear that?
I did. Now, locals tell you that old Margaret doesn't like it when you get too close to her land.
Still, on occasion, some folks will venture out to her property on purpose to check on her well-being. Though she'll greet her visitors with a gruff exterior, I think she appreciates someone is actually checking on her. It's not those who are direct that Margaret has a problem with, it's really those who lurk and gawk.
Well, that makes sense. So we're standing in the heart of Sterling on a sunny afternoon. Plenty of people are walking around, doing their weekly shopping and greeting their neighbors. Hey, check out that black cat walking towards those people.
Yeah, I see it.
Now, at first, no one takes much notice of the cat, but soon the cat starts getting in the way of the folks trying to walk by. At first, they simply push the cat out of the way with their foot, but the cat seems insistent.
Pretty soon, the cat goes from being mildly annoying to seemingly trying to trip people. Those trying to walk around the town center have moved from nudging the cat out of the way to outright kicking it. But the cat keeps coming back for more.
After a few minutes of this, the cat is battered and bruised and limps away from the sidewalk.
It's the next day, and two people from town are heading out to pay Margaret Henry a wellness visit. Once inside, they're shocked to see that Margaret is battered and bruised. She looks as if she's been beat up. Now people are suspicious she's indeed a witch who had transformed herself into a cat.
Because witches can obviously do that.
Obviously. After the cat incident, Margaret's reputation was settled for many folks. Once she passed away, the reputation didn't diminish. People sometimes head out to her woods near her old home to pick huckleberries, and they say her ghost would run them off her former land. And that brings us back to today.
Over time, Sterling grew into the modern era. Trails became paved roads, electricity and phone lines came in, and 2 centuries later, things look pretty different.
Yeah, of course they do. But the legend persists about the ghost of the witch Margaret Henry, who still runs people off her former land.
Which we've experienced firsthand. When we got here, the car was literally pushed up the hill, and we saw the fingerprints.
Okay, so we need to come clean on a couple of things.
Okay, like what?
Well, so Margaret Henry wasn't considered a witch in her day.
Well, how did she get that label then?
The earliest written record goes back to a short Norwich Bulletin article from 1914 that says everyone called Margaret Henry a witch, even though she really wasn't. The article is quick to say that in the opening paragraph. Then the article goes on to talk about the cat incident and also how her woods were said to be haunted.
Okay, got it.
The other problem with this backstory is that Margaret Henry didn't live in Stirling.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, she lived in Killingley, right on the town line with Stirling, so not far. In the town's historical records, Margaret Henry was remembered as a woman who lived in the late 1700s, who was kind, she took care of the poor, and she cared for foster children.
Well, how the heck did she go from that reputation to a witch?
We don't know. Also, this stretch of Main Street and Gravity Hill in Stirling was never her land.
So that part of the story falls apart. But we witnessed the car rolling.
Yeah.
We saw the fingerprints.
I know. I was there. So the car rolling turns out to be an optical illusion.
Oh, how so?
Well, there's just a tiny little dip in the road. It's gradual enough that you barely see it, but the road gently slopes down just before it slopes up. So your car starts to get a little bit of momentum. It rolls faster and faster until it starts to climb the hill up ahead.
Okay. But what about the fingerprints and the talcum powder?
Yeah, so those are your fingerprints.
What do you mean? How?
Every time you close the trunk of your car, you leave a little bit of oily fingerprints behind. The talcum powder makes all of your fingerprints pop after it soaks in for a few seconds. If we walked up to most cars, assuming they weren't just washed and waxed, and sprinkled talcum powder on the trunk, fingerprints would pop out.
Well, that's a big disappointment.
Sometimes that happens. But when you hear a story, when you drive out here to test the legend, when your car actually rolls seemingly uphill, suddenly you find yourself buying into every part of the story. The truth is, there are many gravity hills all over the place. But the story's the same when it comes to there being a gentle dip in the road just before a hill.
Well, it sounds like in this case, the story of the ghost of the Witch of Margaret existed at least over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And then people must have connected it to this weird gravity hill.
Yeah, that happens with legends. Still, maybe her woods are haunted, and maybe long ago they put the wrong name on the ghost. Today we may never know why this happened, but we do know that where we're parked right now is ground zero for a strange legend.
And that takes us to After the Legend, where we take a deeper dive into this week's story and sometimes veer off course.
After the Legend's brought to you, as always, by our Patreon patrons. If you like what we do, thank a patron. They support us financially with our hosting, production, marketing, travel, all the other expenses it takes to bring you 2 shows each week. All we're asking for is $3 per month. And for that, you get early ad-free access to new episodes, plus bonus episodes and content no one else gets to hear. The only thing we're missing is you. Please head over to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up. And to see some pictures related to this week's story, click on the link in our episode description or go to our website and click on episode 422.
Never been to one, but there was one closer to where I grew up. One of those hills, those gravity hills.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like if you're in the car and you're facing upward, right? So you're at an upward angle.
Yeah.
Because you can feel that obviously, whether you're up or down. How do you not sense going down?
Yeah, it looks that way. It's the one on Main Street, of course, it looks flat. For like when you stop at the first telephone pole, it looks very flat, and then the hill starts to go up like, a couple 100 feet ahead.
Yeah.
But it's not quite flat. It's just a tiny, tiny bit of a downhill. And so what happens is at first your car is barely moving. I mean, it just starts to creep. And then once it gets momentum, a car's very heavy.
Yeah.
So once it's rolling, 1 mile an hour becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 5. And then you get enough momentum to go uphill. Like you are now going up the hill. And then suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going uphill. And then you stop. So we should point out, I didn't do a deep dive on this, but Wikipedia alone lists 59 gravity hills in the United States, just the United States. Other countries, there's listings too, but there's 59. That's more than one in every state if you do the math. The other one I knew about, and I have tested it here too, is the Gravity Hill in Greenville, Mass., which is right under, it's called Shelburne Road, and it's right under the Route 2 overpass.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of a hill under the overpass and up right after it. But if you put your car before it, you do start to get pushed. Same thing with the talcum powder. The story there goes that long ago, a school bus full of children went off the bridge and everybody died. And those kids now push your car to safety so you don't get crushed by the falling school bus. There's no record of that ever happening. That's the kind of thing that would have made the news, right?
Right.
I mean, for sure. So it didn't. But when you hear the story and you're like, well, and it's a remote road, you're like, all right, well, I'll just pop it in neutral. Let's see. And then you go, oh my, we're rolling. And then you do the talcum powder trick, which you could go do that right now.
Right.
You can put it in your driveway and be like, oh, there's the fingerprints.
Yeah. 17-year-old me totally would have bought that.
Yeah, and so you see it, and it'll happen. The fingerprints will. I mean, assuming your car it didn't just rain, or your car wasn't like just washed and waxed. Like, every time you shut your trunk, like you're putting your fingerprints on it, and the talcum powder will make them pop out a little bit. So that part of the legend is true. The first time I heard this story was actually in Texas, in San Antonio, where there's like a train track. And a school bus was hit by a train. Yeah, and the little ghostly children push you to safety. It's like a sweet little story.
Sure.
So they're all over the place, and it's always very similar. Something bad happened here, or someone wants to get you away from this place, and meanwhile, it's just sort of an optical illusion. So.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that most legends come from a storytelling background.
Of course,
you know what I mean? Like maybe something did happen, but then that accident gets linked into whatever phenomenon is happening.
So to me, the biggest mystery here is why did someone think Margaret Henry was a witch and published it in a newspaper in 1914? 1914. That's over 100 years ago, right? And it's really short. It's like 3 little paragraphs that just said right up front. People thought she was a witch, though she wasn't. I mean, that's the first paragraph, and the second paragraph is the cat story.
Yeah.
Like, well, there was this cat that was seen, and the people were kicking it, and then she was all bruised, and they thought, oh no, that's her. And then her woods, when people go berry picking near her former woods. So totally possible that where she used to live is haunted, and people are having weird experiences and then attribute it to her and then made up the backstory of the witch. And then over time, you now have Gravity Hill. It's a completely separate story, nothing to do with the other, but they just sort of merged. They're not terribly far away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same town.
Right.
I mean, it's the town line, close enough, So it's not, so that's not that. I get that. I get how that could happen. Like, oh, this place is weird. That place is weird. Let's just put them together. Yeah.
Well, somebody sat down in town hall with a bunch of other people and said, "All right, we need a story.
Yeah.
What about that witch? She's from the other town. Oh, let's just say she's from here."
But roads get repaved every 10 years, 15 years, whatever. I mean, a road is only good for so long, and you got to like repave it. So I'm curious. Next time they repave it, are they going to be like, can we fix this dip in the road? It's really not a big deal. It's just bring in a couple of trucks full of dirt and then put the new...
We're tired of people coming here and trying that thing out.
Putting the car in... Like, you come around the corner and there's some car in neutral going 1 mile an hour. And you're like, you son of a...
Yeah, I mean, that could be dangerous. I mean,
sure.
I don't know why you would want one of those hills. You would try to correct it if you could.
You'd think, yeah. So
I don't know if people are going there every day to try this thing. They will now.
Now they will. They're going to hear this.
Absolutely.
There's someone listening right now going, it's in neutral. We're rolling.
We're going to get a call from a lawyer.
Yeah.
Please never talk about our town again.
Stop it. Yeah, but this is even when you can explain it all away, like there's still an element of mystery that remains, and that's what I love. Even when you can say like, "Well, look, this is what's happening," and I know someone else who said they went out there and the only round thing they had was like an unopened can of soda, and so they just laid it on the road and they could see it started to just sort of roll,
right?
And you go, "Oh yeah, look at that." So
the cat thing is weird, if that even happened,
sure.
But if it did happen, it's kind of a weird coincidence that she was battered and bruised when they found her in human form.
We've done stories like this before. I think it was the Dinglehole episode.
Dinglehole.
Way back when, right? Where someone shot at like a raccoon.
Yeah.
And the raccoon was unharmed. Shot again.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
And then the next day, like the alleged witch in town was all full of buckshot and whatever. And they said, oh, that's it. She transformed herself into...
You see that in werewolf movies all the time.
Right. You get shot and then you wake up in the hospital shot.
Yeah.
And you go, wait, we shot a werewolf, but how come you're in the same spot you got hit? And
weird.
No one figures that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's one of those weird stories. And there's one in Greenville, Massachusetts. There's a bunch everywhere. I don't know how many more of these we're going to cover. So I hope you enjoyed this one because I think it's going to be very much the same story.
Now, you already subscribe to the podcast, right?
I do.
Okay, because if not, you should. Why? Because it's free. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. And we're a community of legend seekers who are always happy to connect with others. You can also join our super secret New England Legends Facebook group. We have over 10,000 members there. So I guess that secret is kind of out at this point.
Fair.
And check out our website, plus the New England Legends television series that you can find on Amazon Prime right now.
We'd like to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much to our Patreon patrons. And our theme music is by John Jedd.
Until next time, remember,
stay legendary.